Let me ask you something. Have you ever given your absolute best to someone, only to feel like it still wasn't enough? You showed up, you cared, you gave love with all your heart, and yet, somehow, you ended up feeling invisible, unwanted, or even rejected. If that's ever happened to you, I want you to lean in, because what I'm about to share may sting a little, but it might just set you free. Love is one of the most beautiful emotions we can ever experience, but there is a painful reality many people discover too late. Love on its own is not enough to sustain a relationship. You can feel deeply connected to someone, be madly in love with them, and still find yourself hurt, disappointed, and drained. The reason: respect is missing. Without respect, love becomes fragile, inconsistent, and even destructive. It's easy to believe that if you love hard enough, if you care deeply enough, things will work out. But here's the truth. When respect isn't present, no amount of love will save the relationship. Respect is the anchor, the thing that grounds love and keeps it steady when life gets stormy. Think about it. Respect is not just about avoiding insults or harsh words. Respect is shown in the smallest actions. The way someone listens when you speak, the effort they put into keeping their promises, the way they honor your time and energy, and even the way they acknowledge your emotions. Respect is not about grand gestures, it's about consistency. When someone respects you, you feel safe being yourself. You don't have to beg for their attention. You don't have to constantly wonder where you stand. You don't have to fight to prove your worth. Respect eliminates that exhausting insecurity because it reassures you that your presence, your voice, and your boundaries are valued. The brutal truth is, many of us confuse passion with respect. We think because the chemistry is strong, the love must be real, but passion without respect is just chaos. If someone loves you but doesn't respect you, they may lie to you, take you for granted, dismiss your needs, or push your boundaries. Love might keep you holding on, but the absence of respect will slowly destroy your sense of self-worth. That's why so many people end up saying, "I lost myself in that relationship." What they really lost was the respect they deserved, and with it, the ability to feel whole. And here's something even harder to accept. Sometimes we betray ourselves by staying in situations where respect is missing. We think, if I just give more, they'll change. If I just love harder, they'll see my value. But love doesn't fix disrespect. You can't love someone's lack of maturity or their unwillingness to honor you. True love doesn't make you sacrifice your dignity. True love and respect go hand in hand, and without both, there is no real foundation. When you embrace this truth, it may hurt at first, but it also liberates you. Because once you demand respect alongside love, you stop settling for less, and you start creating relationships that actually lift you higher instead of tearing you down. Every single day in a relationship, whether we realize it or not, we're teaching the other person how to treat us. Not with lectures, not with rules, but with what we allow, what we tolerate, and what we reinforce. If someone cancels on you last minute again and again, and you continue to accept it without saying a word, you're teaching them that your time isn't valuable. If someone raises their voice at you or disrespects you, and you brush it off because you don't want to start a fight, you're teaching them that it's okay to cross that line. This might sound harsh, but the brutal truth is that your silence, your excuses, and your endless forgiveness create the standard for how others show up for you. It's not about being demanding or cold. It's about realizing that every relationship operates on patterns. People repeat what works. If they can put in minimal effort and still keep your attention, they will. If they can push your boundaries and you stay, they will. That doesn't make them evil, it just makes them human. We're all wired to take the path of least resistance, but here's where your power lies. The moment you decide what you will and won't accept, you stop training people to take advantage of you. Instead, you train them to meet you at a higher standard. Of course, this shift doesn't come without fear. You might worry that if you raise your standards, people will leave, and you're right, some will. The ones who only benefited from you giving without boundaries, the ones who enjoyed taking without giving, the ones who were never serious about truly respecting you. They will drift away when you stop tolerating crumbs. But is that really a loss? Or is it the beginning of something better? Because when you clear that space, you make room for people who see your worth without you having to prove it, people who step up instead of step back, people who don't see your boundaries as obstacles, but as a sign of self-respect. It's important to understand that teaching people how to treat you isn't about punishment. It's about clarity. It's about aligning your words and actions so they send the same message. This is my worth, and I won't let you diminish it. When you consistently show that you won't settle for disrespect, neglect, or indifference, people either rise to meet your standard or they remove themselves, and both outcomes are wins. Because the truth is, keeping someone in your life who constantly violates your boundaries is far lonelier than being on your own. When you begin to live this truth, you not only transform your relationships, you transform the way you see yourself. Attraction is often what pulls two people together in the first place. That spark, that magnetic energy, can feel almost magical. The racing heartbeat, the butterflies in your stomach, the thrill of every text, every touch, it's intoxicating. But as powerful as physical chemistry feels, it isn't enough to hold two people together for the long haul. The brutal truth is that attraction without emotional depth will eventually fade. No matter how intense it feels in the beginning, if the connection is only skin deep, it burns out fast, leaving you with nothing but memories of a passion that once felt unstoppable. What sustains a relationship beyond the initial fireworks is emotional connection. It's the ability to sit with someone in silence and still feel understood. It's knowing that when life gets messy, when the excitement fades, when stress piles up, when routines settle in, you have someone who truly gets you, who sees beyond your surface and loves the person you are at your core. Emotional connection doesn't happen by accident. It grows from honesty, vulnerability, and the willingness to share the parts of yourself you usually hide from the world. When you're willing to show your fears, your doubts, your dreams, and your values, and the other person meets you there with acceptance and care, that's when attraction becomes something lasting. So many relationships fail because people chase the high of physical attraction without building this deeper bond. They confuse chemistry with compatibility, but compatibility isn't about how strong the spark is on day one. It's about how well your souls align when the spark dims. The laughter you share, the way you solve problems together, the respect for each other's growth, and the joy you find in simply being around each other. That's what makes love endure. Without it, even the most passionate beginning will turn into disconnection and resentment. And here's the part many don't realize. Emotional connection actually strengthens attraction over time. When you feel safe with someone, when you feel seen and valued, the spark doesn't die, it evolves. It becomes deeper, richer, more powerful than just surface-level passion. Instead of fading, it matures into a steady fire that can weather storms. That's why couples who build real emotional intimacy often say their partner becomes more attractive to them over the years, not less. Because beauty may catch your eye, but it's connection that captures your heart and keeps it. One of the hardest truths to accept in relationships is that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away. We're taught to believe that strength means holding on, that real love means fighting until the very end. But what if the fight is destroying you? What if staying means losing your peace, your confidence, and your sense of self? Walking away doesn't mean you stopped loving someone. It means you finally chose to love yourself enough not to stay where you are constantly diminished. It's not weakness, it's courage. It's choosing long-term freedom over short-term comfort, even though it hurts in the moment. Many people stay in relationships long past their expiration date because of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of what others will say, or fear that maybe no one else will love them the same way. But here's the brutal truth. Clinging to a relationship that drains you is lonelier than being single. You can share a bed with someone and still feel utterly alone if your heart is constantly aching for the love and respect you're not receiving. Walking away is scary, but it's also an act of reclaiming your life. It says, I will no longer settle for pain disguised as love. It's also important to understand that walking away is not always about punishing the other person or proving a point. Sometimes it's simply about acceptance. Accepting that you can't change someone who doesn't want to change. Accepting that no matter how much you give, they may never be able to give you what you need. Accepting that your paths are no longer aligned and holding on will only cause more damage. That acceptance is heartbreaking, but it's also freeing. Because once you let go of what's not working, you open the door for what truly can. And here's the beautiful paradox. Sometimes walking away actually creates the space for both people to grow. It forces clarity. It shows the other person that you won't stay at any cost. And it shows you that your worth isn't tied to anyone's ability to see it. By leaving, you're not saying the love wasn't real. You're saying the love wasn't enough to justify losing yourself. That distinction matters. Because at the end of the day, a relationship should add to your life, not shrink it. Walking away may break your heart for a while, but staying in the wrong place will break your spirit forever. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's survival, and it's the first step toward the kind of love that truly lasts. When you step back and look at the reality of relationships, it becomes clear that love alone was never meant to carry the weight of everything. Love is powerful, yes, but without respect, it begins to crumble under the strain of unmet needs and broken boundaries. You can pour every ounce of yourself into another person, but if they cannot honor who you are, that love turns into a slow erosion of your self-worth. That's why respect isn't optional, it's essential. It is the foundation that gives love strength and direction, transforming it from a fleeting emotion into something that can last. Without it, love is like building a house on sand. It may look beautiful at first, but eventually it collapses. Equally important is the understanding that you are not just a passenger in your relationships. You are a teacher. Whether you know it or not, you're teaching people how to treat you by what you accept. If you allow neglect, dismissiveness, or even subtle disrespect to continue unchecked, you silently communicate that it's okay, and so the cycle repeats. But the moment you decide to raise your standards, you disrupt that cycle. Yes, you may lose people who cannot or will not rise to meet them, but those who remain, and those who enter your life moving forward, will be the ones who see your worth without you having to beg for it. That shift changes not just your relationships, but your entire experience of love. Another truth we cannot ignore is that physical attraction, as exhilarating as it feels, is never enough on its own. The rush of chemistry can light a spark, but without emotional connection, that fire burns out quickly. Emotional intimacy is what sustains love through time, the ability to be vulnerable, to feel safe, and to be deeply understood. When you find someone who sees beyond your appearance and loves the soul underneath, attraction doesn't fade, it deepens. That kind of connection turns ordinary moments into extraordinary ones and keeps the bond alive long after the initial excitement fades. Love built on emotional depth isn't just thrilling, it's enduring. And finally, there's the truth we often resist. Sometimes love means letting go. Walking away isn't about giving up. It's about choosing yourself when staying costs too much. It takes courage to release what feels familiar, even when it hurts, but that act of self-respect creates space for the right kind of love to enter. It's not a failure to end what no longer serves you, it's wisdom. Because real love should never demand the loss of your peace, your dignity, or your joy. And when you honor yourself enough to walk away from less, you're not closing the door on love. You're opening it to something far greater than you've ever experienced before. Thank you so much for giving me your time and attention today. I truly hope these words added value to your journey and gave you clarity about love, respect, and the kind of relationships you deserve. Remember, sometimes the most powerful truths are the hardest to hear, but they're also the ones that set us free. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss more content designed to inspire, empower, and remind you of your worth. Your support means the world, and every comment, every share, helps this community grow stronger. Always remember, you are worthy of a love that respects you, cherishes you, and lifts you higher. Don't settle for less, and don't be afraid to choose yourself. That's not just survival, it's the beginning of thriving. Thank you once again for being here with me. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay strong, and keep choosing love that truly honors you. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.